Salim, August guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. In my presentation, I shall very briefly talk about the procedure which has been laid down in the convention about investigation of an alleged use of chemical weapons, and then subsequently I'll also very briefly mention the few major events of alleged use of chemical weapons which have taken place in the recent past, and lastly I'll mention few of the important activities which we have taken for the implementation of the convention in Pakistan. So coming on to the general provision under which the investigation of an alleged use of chemical weapons or riot control agents as a method of warfare can be initiated, that is either pursuant to Article 10 or Article 9 of the Convention, or thirdly it could be under the UN Secretary General investigation mechanism. As far as the prohibitions with regard to use of these weapons is concerned, as Ambassador Naqvi and later on Secretary Foreign Affairs very aptly mentioned, that this is one convention which has really stigmatized the use of chemical weapons or chemical warfare agents or even riot control agents in any form against the mankind. So therefore the main provision which has been contained about not to use chemical weapons against all mankind has been included first in the preamble of the convention, and then it is the first article which says that each state party to this convention undertakes never under any circumstances to develop, produce, retain, use, transfer. So, but this convention, as it has already been mentioned, this is one of the disarmament conventions with a unique provision which also, despite banning the development production of a certain category of weapons of mass destruction, also calls for their monitored and verified destruction. So that is the uniqueness, because but still the possibility of use of these weapons, it still remains, as we have seen in certain recent incidents. So that's why the negotiators of the convention, they kept this provision in the convention that if at all this use happens in any form, or if some state party is threatened by another state party about the use of chemical weapons or possible chemical weapons, so that state party can be assisted. So now coming on to the procedure itself, the main features of an IAU could be that it is basically a non-routine type of inspection, because we have a system of inspections which includes routine inspections and periodical and a challenge inspection. So it generally falls in the category of challenge inspections, and then it is a complex inspection, because the inspection team will have to prove the guilty party also in one way in certain circumstances, and then there would be a very high media attention towards such incidents, and then timelines as for the other inspections have also been laid out. So for this, the timelines are also there. Now, as I said earlier, the inspection can be initiated either under the provisions of challenge inspection, that is under Article 9 of the Chemical Weapons Convention, where the procedure has been laid down for the challenge inspection and investigation of alleged use of chemical weapons. and then the detailed procedure about the conduct of the inspection, it has been given in the verification annex. And the second provision could be under Article 10 of the Convention, where a state party feels that it has been threatened or the weapons have been actually used, or there is a threat of use of chemical weapons to a state party. So the state party can always request another state party, or it can request OPCW for assistance. And third possible way could be that if there is a country, there is a state which is not party to the convention, or the chemical weapons have been used in an area which is not under the control of a particular state party. So then the UN Security Secretary General investigation mechanism that is activated, but still since the expertise lies with the OPCW, so OPCW is requested for the expertise, but in recent past the UN Secretary General mechanism has also developed quite a lot of expertise about the investigation of use of even BWs or CWs. So the experts have been trained through various courses and conduct of various exercises. Next. So now the next is the IAU under Article 10. Each state party has the right to request assistance and protection if it considers that chemical weapons have been either used or riot control agents have been used against it as a method of warfare, or there is a threat. In all these situations, DG would within 24 hours initiate an investigation to provide foundation for further actions by the Executive Council. In this very case, when assistance is requested, so generally the burden of proof is not there for the inspection team, but requirement of assistance that is based on the need, the kind of threat. The third mechanism is the request by UN Secretary General. So as I said earlier, if the alleged use involves a state not party or territory not controlled by a state party, OPCW should closely cooperate with the UNSC. If so requested, the OPCW shall put all its resources at the disposal of the Secretary General, UN Secretary General, and UN Secretary General has its own mechanism of investigation. So if additionally the investigation can be initiated, can be conducted under that mechanism, but if additional expertise, additional resources are required, so then the OPCW can also be involved in that UN Secretary General investigation mechanism. Generally the request like a challenge inspection, the request contains first and foremost thing is the state party against whom the investigation is to be carried out, point of entry, the most relevant point of entry, because though in our case there is only one point of entry, but there are certain state parties where the point of entry is designated to the OPCW are more than one. So the most relevant point of entry would be mentioned in the request, and the location and characteristics of chemical weapons which have been used at a particular place, what kind of chemical weapons possibly has been used, time, type, extent of use, and then characteristics of possible toxic chemicals, what kind of effects have been there on animals, vegetation, environment, and then a request for specific assistance by that state party. So this all would be included in the request, which in this very case, say, in case of a challenge inspection, it is always addressed to the DG, OPCW and Executive Council at the same time. But in this very case, the request is always addressed to the DG, and it's the DG who informs the other state parties, the inspected state party, and even the Executive Council. So when this request has been initiated, so there would be certain actions which would be, we can categorize as pre-investigation activities, because there would be, we can divide the investigation activities into three fairly distinct stages. One is at the OPCW level, where the before the inspection is actually conducted, and then there would be certain activities which would be conducted during the challenge inspection, and then subsequently at the end of the challenge inspection, when the inspection team goes back to the headquarters and files its preliminary report initially, and then subsequently final report. So now coming on to the first one, when is the inspection is requested. So first and foremost thing DG does is he acknowledges receipt of request, establishes internal mission support group, and informs Executive Council and all state parties. And if applicable, if DG considered suitable, immediately the inspected state party is also informed. But in any case, the inspected state party is to be informed 24 hours before the arrival of the, or expected arrival of the inspection team at their territory. So next, after having done so, the Executive Council goes into session and they start considering the request, and on the other side, the DG along with its internal mission support group, they starts other activities. That team is selected from the say inspectors and inspection assistants, or if need be from the designated qualified experts. Then IT is briefed and inspection can be, he will ensure that the inspection can be carried out in the safest possible manner. As far as preparation of the team is concerned, the team, all relevant information is provided to the team, technical and operational briefings are conducted, and preparation of equipment, relevant equipment is selected and prepared. And team prepares preliminary inspection plan, and so in this very case the emphasis remains on the safety. Dispatch of inspection team. So immediately DG asks the inspected state party about the safe arrangements of the reception of the team, and shall dispatch the team at earliest possible time, and if not possible within 24 hours, is bound to inform the. As far as briefings are concerned, the IT has a right to be briefed by the ISP, and the inspection plan which they prepare can be updated at any time. As far as access is concerned, the IT has right. This is just say unlike challenge inspection, where the inspection is of a particular site. So the inspection team cannot request for an access outside the site. Here the inspection team can ask for access to all possible areas, all possible people, and but in all these cases the IT shall always consult the ISP. Next, conduct. Sampling, the IT has the right to take samples including biosamples, and the say investigation can be carried out both on-site or off-site. If on-site, off-site, then the remnants of the samples are returned to the ISP. These are some important samples. The next is the conduct of inspection. So IT has a right, the area can be extended into a neighboring state party. Safety of the team is most important, and period of inspection is not really fixed. It can be extended to at periods of 72 hours each, and at the end of each 72 hours a report would be initiated. Next. Interviews. The IT has a right to conduct interviews of all relevant people, or either those who have been affected, or those are eyewitnesses, or those who have treated the affected people. As far as reports are concerned, okay. Next. Reports. So, first report is the situation report, which is initiated within 24 hours. Then is preliminary report, which is initiated after 72 hours, and then is the final report, which is initiated after 30 days after arrival of the team. As far as technical secretary preparedness is concerned, so they are fully prepared, and they have confirmed it to the conference and even the executive council. And for this purpose, various exercises have been conducted during different years at various places. 2 in Czech Republic, 1 in Poland, 1 in Serbia, and Ukraine and Tunisia. Next. So coming on to 3 incidents. One is the chemical attack in Syria. We have seen that there have been a number of attacks which have taken place at various places in Syria. Different mechanisms of investigation has been used, but nothing, since the war is going on, civil war is going on, the security and safety of the team is a problem. So nothing conclusive has been, established in case of various attacks at different places. And at places the government of Syria has been blamed, at places the ISIS has been blamed, and at places the opposition group has been blamed. So, and next is the Kim Jong-nam association. The assassination of Kim Jong-nam occurred on 13 February 17. There were 2 women in Malaysia, they were involved. But here in this case, OPCW was not really involved, and the investigation was carried out by the Malaysian police. And last and recent incident has been Salisbury poisoning of a double Russian agent and his daughter. And here again, though OPCW has been involved in the investigation, but at a very belated stage, and OPCW has not been able to, though they have established the use, but they have not been able to establish the origin of the agent. So that has created a misunderstanding and between Russia and various states. So these were the certain incidents of significance which have taken place very recently. And lastly, these are the activities which have taken place in Pakistan. I'll only talk about the second last one. That is establishment of a chemical protection research lab. Gentlemen, this lab has been, ladies and gentlemen, this lab has been established in Dasto, and the lab has proved during initial 3 tests that they could attain grade alpha in 2 of the 3 tests, and as a result, the lab has been designated by the OPCW. And because I have mentioned this because it is not very common that a lab participates in OPCW tests and it attains grade alpha. and that too consecutively. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, sir.
No problem.